Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do to the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm your friendly neighborhood Brent.
Alliance Assemble, Volume 222. I love a good palindrome, and you know what? I also love having my co-host back. Brent,
back.
welcome back.
I didn't know you had such strong feelings for palindromes, but
I didn't either. But I looked at it, it's like, you know what? Certain things just feel good to say.
I mean, I guess like race car things like that. You big into race cars?
I like race cars.
I mean, it's palindrome, so.
I mean, I live basically 10 minutes away from a NASCAR track, and my in-laws live basically, their house backs up onto a racetrack, so there's that.
Palindrome, so that's the longest one I could think of.
So, well, welcome back. It's been a bit, and definitely want to extend our thanks to David and Travis for stepping in, and also David for being on standby for the week of the 4th of July, just in case we were going to go live on that one, but we really appreciate both of you taking it, and I definitely had a good time hosting with them.
Well, it was fun to listen to, and I did find some time to get through both episodes. I tried to I mean, I actually the second one was Snell. I did pop into YouTube for like 2 minutes, and I was about to say something, and then I had to go do something. So I'm like, whatever, I'll let it go. I don't remember what it was. It was there was something that like Snell said, one of you said, and you guys couldn't remember the answer early on in the episode. I'm like, it's this, and I now I don't even remember what it was. Ebony Maw. It might have been Ebony Maw.
Yeah, it was probably Ebony Maw. We both.
I'm like yelling at it, and then I was about to type it, and then I had to go. So I was like,
we got it. We got it eventually. We got it.
You did. In the recording, I heard you got there.
So yeah, 5th of Jack says welcome back from vacation. And we got Julio in the chat. What's up? Oh, I appreciate the yes. Again, I try to dress the part, for what we're talking about. So yes. So, yep. But how's been your week? Are you officially back to work?
Oh yeah. Back to everything's back to normal. Just doing the work thing and knee deep into it, and you're setting off firestorms in the chat today about Star Wars, and
I did not set off that. Everyone else decided to set off the fire. I was simply putting an educational, here's something to look at, and then everything went.
And I appreciated it. I'll just say, hot take: the Alkalite was awesome, and apparently that's a hot take for some people. So, but you know what? We'll see if he says anything when he hears this. It was awesome. The whole thing was awesome.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed many different aspects of it, and I think I put my rankings in our group chat of where it stands. It's definitely not the best Star Wars I've seen, and it's definitely not the worst Star Wars I've seen. But I do take the idea that I outside of maybe the holiday special of Star Wars, the original holiday special, I can find usually something decent and enjoyable about most Star Wars. So,
well, you should listen to Star Wars Alliance.
Yes,
for
you
the
should.
Actual review of that.
The actual review, a very long and quite detailed breakdown of everything.
I will admit is still in my queue. As I was telling you before we got on, I'm way behind on stuff.
But it will be listened to. So
yes, it's in the queue.
All right, well, we have a big show because, again, we can't, not welcome you back. Last week we had a major number of news items plus a trailer breakdown, and you know what? We were wondering if Brave New World was going to drop that same day, and thankfully, for Chris's sake, it didn't, and it broke the next day, so we get to break that down. We got some interesting news items when it comes to Avengers. The week before San Diego Comic-Con, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in things that are actually getting ready to happen.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. So, but yeah, let us get all the network plugs out of the way. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network with 7 shows covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance network on Twitter at GUAPod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers. Our $1 tier is our tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? And then our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive shows, including we've got 2 shows on there. We've got We Can Watch This All Day, the Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch with 24 episodes breaking down all the movies that are canonically in the Infinity Saga. And then now we are into our newest show, the Tales from the House of X, where we are rewatching our favorite movies from the Fox era of X-Men. We have 4 episodes up there right now: Deadpool, Deadpool 2, The Wolverine, and Logan. And as we've said a little bit to our patrons, we will not be recording a new episode to drop at the end of this month because of Brent's schedule, my schedule this month. It just wasn't going to work. So we will be recording our next episode, X-Men, the original X-Men, in August to drop at the end. So thank you for being patient with that. We also have DC Alliance doing their DC films through the years. We have Joe doing his Multiverse Minutes Disney Dives. He just dropped his newest episode looking at the next animated Disney animation classic. At that point, I can't remember what the name of it was, but it's another one of those as they come to know the package films.
It was something I had never heard of.
I'd never heard of it either. The last episode he did was Three Caballeros, which I did know. This was another one. He did say I think he actually enjoyed this one better than one of the other package films about air power. No, that one was not so much. So it's actually it's good. It's interesting just because some of these early stuff I've never listened to. So give that a listen. He drops them on the 1st and 15th of every month, and we got a lot of back content out there. So we want to thank our patrons. We can't do this without your support. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/GUA network to get all the lovely content. But if you can't join us on Patreon, we totally understand. If you can take 30 to 90 seconds and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts, we greatly appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com, for your omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at OPB have got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. Get to earn points to earn free books or discounted books. So these right now, if you're watching live, got Dark Web Omnibus. We've got the Secret Wars Battle World Omnibus. We've got Daredevil by Bendis and Malieve Omnibus Volume 2 coming back into print. Should be a new pre-order coming very soon, if not this week, the end of next week. So check those out and use that code MARVELGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order. And we want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right, so before we get into the trailer, in a week, Brent, we got something big happening. We got 2 big things happening next week.
Yes, we do. We have a movie,
yep,
and we have San Diego Comic-Con. That's a heck of a week.
Yes, it is very much a heck of a week. So with those weeks, we do a little shuffling of the schedule for the GUA. So since Deadpool and Wolverine comes out next week, we will not be having our regular Thursday night shows. Since Brent and I will be seeing the movie that night, I'll be seeing it the afternoon. I think, Brent, your tickets are for, 6 p.m.?
6:30 Central. 6:30 Central. Be seeing it with my wife and David, actually. And
excellent.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it too. So we are not going to go live Thursday night. We'll be going live Friday night at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time to do our full spoiler review with the audio dropping Saturday morning. Don't worry for you Thursday people. We've got DC Alliance will temporarily go live next Thursday night with their audio dropping Friday morning. We appreciate Travis and Joe making the switch for us on that one. But as we said, we've also got San Diego Comic-Con. So next week, we'll be doing our SDCC crossover with Geekverse next Saturday night. I believe right now this is tentatively, we'll probably going live with them at 8:45, maybe to do some last-minute predictions. And then we'll be reacting live to the panel. Basically, we'll be watching Twitter updates and kind of responding to what we're seeing and hearing and giving ours. This has been we've done this pretty much every year except for last year, I believe, since the strikes kind of stopped all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
there was nothing last year, which whatever. But this year they're back, they're strong. I definitely think there's going to be some big announcements. Part of which is because you guys just had the Agatha trailer last week. We're about to talk about Captain America trailer this week, and yep. I will tell you, prior to those trailers, I thought those were both sure things for Comic-Con. And so if they're already putting those out, what are they going to reveal there? Because they also have D23 this year. Something big's coming, and I have a feeling it's one of our news topics.
Yes, exactly. So again, next week, we're going live Friday night for a review, audio dropping on Saturday, and then our crossover with Geekverse for our SDCC live reactions will be Saturday night at 8:45 Eastern Standard Time on the Geekverse YouTube channel, audio dropping Sunday morning. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a busy week, but you know what? We love good content, don't we?
It is good. It's going to be awesome.
Exactly.
It's going to be awesome. And I'll just frankly say it. Next Thursday, the day we get to see Deadpool, is my birthday. And so
you know what? Happy early birthday. What better
way, right? I've already told, like, well, I mean, my wife will be with me, but like I told my parents and stuff, I'm like, I'm out that weekend. Like I'm taking up that weekend. Frankly, I don't care. I'm not celebrating my birthday that weekend, or I am. I'm doing it with Marvel though.
Yeah, it is, you can't get any better birthday at that point. But before we break down this trailer, what are your thoughts on the Agatha trailer?
I really liked it. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like they're definitely going with kind of a spooky vibe to it. I don't think it's going to be like full on horror like I've seen some of the people saying, like, oh, this is Marvel's first foray into horror. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that probably was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with some of its sequences. But regardless, it looks like a lot of fun. They're calling back to Wanda. They're calling back probably to Multiverse of Madness with Wanda there. It looks like it's the 8th. That's the other something else that I heard in the recording with you and Sel. It's Wanda from the 838 universe is the universe, because he was questioning that. But that one, it looks like that one, and now I don't think it's Elizabeth Olsen. Do I expect to see Elizabeth Olsen in the show? No, I don't, because I think that the next time we see her in new footage on screen will be in the movies. But I do think I think they will allude to her coming back. I forget the actor's name, but we know it's Tommy. It came out in Variety. It was Tommy.
John Locke.
Thank you. I keep seeing people say, we think he's Tommy. And I'm like,
no, it's Tommy.
Like, Variety reported it. Like, he's Tommy. Like they're not hiding that anymore. I'm excited for it. I think it looks great. And, they announced it as like a Wednesday release date, which I assume means they'll really do like the Tuesday 8 o'clock thing.
Or maybe or maybe Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Who knows?
That would also be acceptable. I really like those PM release dates, so I'm hoping that's what they stick with. No, I'm excited for it. It was great.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. And but yeah, let's break down this trailer before we get our first trailer for Captain America: Brave New World. We got some rumors that this would be dropping next week, and last week at some point. Rumors were Thursday, but I think the some other things pushed it back to a day later. So we got this Friday, and, I'm glad as we go through the trailer, certain things that we've been hearing rumors about, some people say, oh, they ruined it. I'm glad it's out there. That way we can stop speculating on a couple of things and get new speculations going on.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, but yeah, so before I even start the trailer breakdown, let's kind of review what we're picking up and where we're at when Brave New World kind of picks up. So from Incredible Hulk, we've got a number of people rejoining. We've got Tim Blake Nelson returning as the leader, and he makes a very subtle voiceover and appearance in the trailer as the leader. This will be the first time we do see him as the leader in the MCU. Liv Tyler is returning as Betty Ross, and we got Thunderbolt Ross coming into this, but now played by Harrison Ford, since William Hurt has passed away. This comes after the Secret Invasion aftermath, Falcon and Winter Soldier. There are rumors, and I don't know if these are official, that maybe Sebastian Stan may be stepping in to come back as Bucky in this one.
I hope so.
I would think it'd be appropriate.
The last thing I heard about him was he was not going to be in it, but it would make the first Captain America project he wasn't in. And I just have such a soft spot for that character. I'm like, I just want to see him again. And I know we got Thunderbolts next year with an asterisk, but I want to see him again. I'm like, give me some Bucky.
Yeah, it should be again after Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I said upon rewatches that show has steadily gone up into my top favorite MCU projects. So But yeah, so next we have from Falcon and Winter Soldier, in addition to possibly Bucky Barnes coming back, we do know Danny Ramirez will come back as Joaquin Torres, and Carl Lumley as Isaiah Bradley, and we also will have Julia Louise-Dreyfus as Val. Don't they? She's Val. Don't even think it, right?
Don't call her Val.
Don't call her Val. So, but yeah, so that's where we're at. And so, as always, we're gonna have it in a miniature format, live. We're not gonna be having sound or anything like that. So, you know what? Even as we start this, it feels that we haven't had a movie that starts tying things together yet.
Yeah, like there are segments that are tied together. Like obviously, Multiverse of Madness has like a one-line callback to No Way Home and WandaVision tie-ins, but really nothing else. Like there's stuff like that, but something that really seems to be bringing things together, we're still it feels like we're missing. And you know what? This is going all the way back to the second movie of the MCU, like you just said, with some of those people coming back for the first time, and I've lost count of how many projects, 40-some projects.
Yeah, and so this is definitely channeling Winter Soldier vibes, and a personal favorite of both of ours, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan.
Yes.
So let's start it off. So we get an opening entrance. We see our first look from behind Thunderbolt Ross. We are in the White House. We're not in necessarily the Oval Office, but we need, we're gonna get a quick look very, very soon. We get Sam Wilson, and entering into this. I love these kind of flashes of shots of where we're seeing. We got Sam. We got him as Captain America. And then back and forth, we see even going back into the Oval, I was about to say it's not the Oval Office, but we get, the decorations, the portraits are interesting to note. We got Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, who are both Democratic Republicans in their time, and then John Tyler, who's a Whig. So you could have Ross being that political candidate that was trying to maybe unite all sides under his kind of party leadership at that point. We don't necessarily gather from this trailer like what party he was on. I'd like to propose out there that I think he was an independent.
I don't know. I don't even know if it wouldn't surprise me if we don't even find out. So
that would also be that would also be something that he just won the election and we're not even going to touch that one.
Yeah, I bet we don't. I bet we don't actually find out.
Yeah. So yeah, we get our first look at a little bit of the redesigned suit. So we get thanks for coming in, and then he said trying to get used to the new look. And Thaddeus says they said lose the mustache or lose the election.
Yep, calling out the recast, not unlike they did with Don Cheadle way back in Iron Man 2.
Exactly. So this also calls out a very common comic book complaint about why Thaddeus Ross is the alter ego in the comics as the Red Hulk, why the Red Hulk doesn't have a mustache. So we see is what we looks like as a victory speech after most likely winning the election. And you got to love the campaign signs, ready for Ross.
Yep.
And that really kind of hones in on something where we're at in the MCU at this time, post Secret Invasion. We've had a lot of chaos going on, a lot of change, and now they're ready for who? Ready for Ross.
Which is a good slogan. It's a good campaign slogan.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him since, I guess for real it's Black Widow, but timeline-wise it would be, the end of Endgame? The funeral of Endgame?
Yes. I would say so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think we've... Well, no, because
no.
William Hurt passed away, and then this is Harrison Ford's first appearance. So.
Yeah, because again, Black Widow being in the timeline, that was the last time we saw him. But timeline-wise, yeah, that fits technically earlier.
Yeah, that's right after Civil War. So,
yep.
Before, after.
During. Why not?
It's right after. It's right after Civil War. I'm like, oh.
But Thunderbolt Ross has a record of dealing with superpowered people and who would have run on a platform of restoring normalcy in American power. Remember, we're like I said, post Secret Invasion with Skrulls being in top levels of government and former President Ritson declaring open season on all aliens. So,
Secret Invasion? Never heard of it.
Yeah, well, it definitely was a thing. I like it. They call out. Ross says, "You and I always haven't agreed."
an understatement, considering Ross has put him in jail before.
Yeah. So we got some people running. Okay, a couple of things going on here where what we're saying. So Ross is aware that all the good Sam can do as Captain America, and he later says in just a moment he wants to make Captain America an official military position again. And 11 Sam's come back. What if we disagree on how to manage the situation? Then what happens?
So
Then they,
it's the Accords all over again.
yeah, and then it cuts to a very different shot where he just says, "Work with me, Sam," and that's a completely different shot and placement from where it is. So remember, the U.S. government never actually controlled the identity of Captain America. Val brings that up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's a gray area, she called it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they kind of did back in the 40s in the first Avenger, Captain America, the first Avenger. But as soon as Captain America went in the ice, they were done with it.
Yeah, and so it's just like you said, they use Steve as a propaganda piece.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it makes sense that the U.S. government wants Captain America to be working for them because he's a symbol of America, and they want to send that impression that superheroes are employed by the American government to strike fear in rogue nations. And so we got a little bit of we got some Secret Service people running across looks like the lawn at that point, and maybe it may be a reaction to what we see later in the trailer.
That is my interpretation, because it looks like we see several glimpses from what's overall the same set piece.
Yeah. Then we get looks like Sam's visiting someone, my guess is in prison, implying that as Captain America, he has to play different roles, particularly his Captain America has to play different roles because he can't just be a superhero. He has to be a politician, he's a superhero, and he's a representative for the black community.
So I wonder who he'd be visiting.
I think we're going to find out possibly very shortly.
Yep. If it's not him, then I don't know.
Mm-hmm. All right, I want to pause right there at this radar sheet. So we see a radar of the Fifth Fleet with a symbol for the fighter labeled Japan. So what I think we're going to see later, what we see later on in the trailer is what I think that Ross is going to try to lead a global initiative unit of world governments under one security umbrella, but the villain, the leader, is going to be manipulating these countries against each other and starting a war over what we're going to see later. We're finally get some answers on Tiamat.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we get the fighters. What if we disagree? All right, so we get our first look at this new character into the MCU. We see our first shots of Shira Haas, who is named Ruth Bat Seraph, and she is and rumor has it, according to what I've been kind of looking up, rumor has it she is a former.
It's not rumor, that's official synopsis.
Oh, it's official? Okay, so I wanted to be careful before I said. So officially announced that she is a former Black Widow who is now a high-ranking government official that has the trust of President Ross. She was rumored to play a very different character based on the character's name. However, she is no longer playing that character due to what's going on in world events. We'll
I don't even think it's like, if you look at there was a Hollywood Reporter piece about that. She was going to be playing a character named Sabra, and according to that, they were already not going to use that name and already radically changing her character a couple years ago. And so long before any of that stuff started, and so before any of the world events started, that have people understandably upset, let's say. And so because of that, my only question is at this point is, if they had just picked a different name for this character, none of this controversy would be there.
Yeah, and the release statement said, while our characters and stories are inspired by the comics, they are always freshly imagined for the screen and today's audience. And the filmmakers are taking a new approach to the character Sabra, who was first introduced in comics over 40 years ago.
Yeah, I understand
and
why
the name Sabra will not be used, they said, in this film.
And I understand why her name why her inclusion upsets people. I'm not going to try and talk anyone out of that.
Yes.
I just, at this point, I just wish Marvel had gone with someone else. And I remember even the first time I watched this trailer, she gave me like Black Widow vibes. I was like, oh, she seems like a Black Widow. And then I found out she was one. I'm like, okay, great. That makes sense. And then I realized who that actually was supposed to be. I'm like, oh, great. It's her. But ultimately the idea of the Black Widows being out there, I like that idea. I think that's a good idea because we know that Yelena and her parents freed a bunch of them. So I think that's a really cool idea that they're going to be out there, that they're going to pop back up. I hope this isn't the only one.
Yeah, and it's a good callback to that after all these years. Now we've got one former one now working very closely to Ross and supposedly a very good, close confidant in what he's wanted to have done. All right, so we get our first official shot of Giancarlo Esposito in joining this film. So there has been some interesting new developments from this, and I want to give a shout out to a listener to this show who kind of started breaking that story with what's going on. Resident Justice was actually at Fanboy Expo, and Giancarlo Esposito was on a panel, and he directly asked him how it feels to be joining the MCU, and he responded saying he's really excited about it. It's a dream come true. And he made this statement that no one has guessed correctly about who his role is with regards to who he's playing. And so the possible character that was put out there a few weeks ago by My Time to Shine Hello was that he has been cast as G.W. Bridge. The other thing he was linked to was Bushman. But apparently, according to Esposito, no one has guessed it. And in these days, we don't know who to trust. And I'm not trying to channel a bad show.
Well, Bushman was the name of the character in Luke Cage, right?
Yes, there was a character named Bushman in Luke Cage.
Unless there's more than one Bushman, which sure, possible. I'm hoping that's not who it is. The GW Bridge thing is funny. George Washington Bridge. Best tweet I saw about that is typically the archenemy of Gwen Stacy, but ultimately, do we really think he's been watching Twitter and watching threads and everything and like seeing what people are guessing? No, yeah. I will not be at all surprised if he is playing Bridge.
Yeah, neither will I. But I want to give.
Let me rephrase that. I'm surprised they're bringing the character of Bridge to live action. But at this point, I believe that's who he is.
Especially with what he's saying, he's going to be a big character in. Be introduced here, and then he'll be a big character focal point in a Marvel television show.
Yeah.
So, but yes, you don't bring Giancarlo Esposito into a project just for a one and done short little stint cameo.
I hope not.
Nope, I don't think so. All right. And so we get these launching out, and so where they're at right now, they're in the Indian Ocean, and in the background is our first relook at Tiamat, the celestial that was frozen at the end of the movie Eternals. Remember that movie, Brent? Oh, so long ago.
I do. Just a couple years ago.
Yep. So we may see a very big international issue that's going on surrounding this. So Thaddeus Ross saying, Sam, work with me. So Sam, unlike Steve, has to live in different worlds because Steve could just be a part of everything and just be an Avenger, but Sam has to start playing politics with this. This is a brave new world, as it were. And we get a car explosion. And so we get this kind of big, like kind of maybe presentation, press conference. We do see that Sam, Torres, and even Isaiah Bradley are there with Ross announcing something. And from what was talked about during the footage that was shown at CinemaCon, he's basically announcing of a major discovery of a lifetime. What could that possibly be?
Yeah, I have a feeling he got a little bit of a super secret super soldier serum.
Super soldier serum or something else possibly?
Something mixed with it.
Yeah, something mixed with it. I'm not the only one calling this out. I think we're going to see our first introduction of adamantium coming from Tiamat.
Oh, from Tiamat? Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood what you meant.
There we go. I was about to say, I said, I don't think we're on the same wavelength.
No. But there were rumors like a year ago.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Yeah.
So I think that I would like to say probably the Japanese were the first ones to kind of start claiming this, and so this is maybe where Ross is getting this idea to have this global security force, but also trying to get the Americans' way to get access to Tiamat. So then we get Isaiah standing up, fighting and then taking a shot at President Ross. So, from what I'm gathering, I don't think this is Isaiah acting under his own accord.
He doesn't strike me as the type to act that way. At least not as we knew him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
My guess is he's very much like, again, channeling not just Winter Soldier vibes, but Manchurian Candidate. I'd like to think a signal has gone off, maybe a musical cue. Something's going on due to as responsible by the leader.
Right, and likely that's who Sam was visiting in prison that we saw earlier.
Yes. So we get Isaiah and Sam fighting, Isaiah jumping out the window. Now, I do want to say this. Marvel Studios, don't do flashing title screens like this. That's not good for people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who understandably that would cause problems for.
Yes. You got Sam walking in the aftermath of this to the Situation Room, telling President Ross that, it's one of those things where, he's just saying either you don't want to know, you can't, his inner circle has been compromised, and either he can't see it or doesn't want to. What do you think it is? Which one do you think it is?
Neither. I think he's fully aware of it. It's the thing. I think he's manipulating things.
Or even being manipulated himself.
Maybe. I will not be at all surprised if he is on the antagonist side of the movie. Let's put it that way.
So we see Sam and Torres investigating, which I'm assuming may be one of the leader's bases, and possibly where some brainwashing has occurred in the leader's lab.
Nice to see Torres is going to be in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we get this is not the new suit. This is the old suit. So this is probably going to be taking place early on in the film.
Yeah, most likely.
All right. So right there we get, the closed captioning says Samuel Stearns. That is the real name of the leader, and this is our first look at the leader. It's hard to tell from this screen, but if you look at your own screen, his head does have a green tint to it. And so, we haven't seen him since the Incredible Hulk. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because the leader in the comics has this big kind of cone head shaped head, and I don't know how comic big his head's going to be.
I mean, it doesn't in this shot. It doesn't look like it's that large. Like,
I could see maybe a bigger forehead, maybe a little bit taller, but not like huge.
They're not going like MODOK big, and the leader's head, I mean, it's not as big as MODOK's, but it's big. It's big enough that we would be able to tell from this shot. I am curious what he's going to look like. Yeah,
and so he says that global power shifting, you are just a pawn for him. And here's the other thing, too. He's also there at the press conference. That's a green hand. And I don't think we're going to see people. I saw some people saying, oh, the Skrulls are there and things like that. I don't think this is Skrulls anymore. I think he's there.
That's the leader.
I think he's there at the conference. And and that's why when I saw that saying he's doing something to signal Isaiah, though the next question is, how did this happen to Isaiah? Did it happen back when he was in prison during his post kind of his own Captain America days in prison, or was it after?
Yeah, Isaiah could have been a sleeper agent this whole time and not known it.
Yep. So get some more shots and funeral shots. This is a cool shot where this is back in that lab, and so it looks like he's being attacked by some of the leader's henchmen. Another shot of whoever he's playing, shots going off. This was a cool, I know you pointed this out, and I know it's going around, this shot right here. Very similar, very homage to another shot that Steve Rogers did.
Yeah, it's just a great Captain America shot.
And Thaddeus Ross says, you may be Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers. He picks up the shield.
Says, you're right, I'm not.
I love this. I absolutely love this shot. It's such a cool gimmickly shot. Him throwing the shield, cut away to the White House getting destroyed, like the shield's destroying it. That is a cool shot. We know it's not how it happened.
Right. Obviously, the shield did not destroy the White House.
But still very cool.
It's a cool transition.
Yeah. And he says, I'm not. And he says, you're right. That's a perfect answer. I'm not. And that's again, this is going to be a movie in the sense of, again, people second guessing and going back to what Zaya Bradley said in Falcon and Winter Soldier. They will not allow a black man to be Captain America, and no self-respecting black man would take him up on it. Well, Sam's going to be his own man and prove them all wrong, but he is still going to be second guessed left and right.
It's something he will always have to deal with. And so on one hand, putting that in there is giving just a little bit of a taste of the arc that he went through of Falcon and Winter Soldier for those who did not see that show and went straight from Endgame to this. And also at the same time, it's not like because he dealt with it once, he never has to deal with it again.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're including it.
So we get a shot of him flying. We're going to see another quick shot. I'll try to pause it when we get Joaquin Torres is taking over the mantle of Falcon with him flying. But here's something I want to point out. Sam's wearing a helmet, and not a lot of people have been talking about this. Yeah, he's going to need that helmet, especially if he's breaking the sound barrier, as you'll see in the trailer.
Yeah, and a look at the helmet leaked a while back, and people were questioning it, and, well, now we know.
Yep, now we know. Yep, there we go, going supersonic. Captain America Brave New World. And then we get the shot that I'm so happy it's finally revealed, our first look at the Red Hulk.
Yes. Very excited to see that.
Yep. So, yeah, Red Hulk, I mean, I think we're all assuming it's going to be, I know Harrison Ford got cheeky with comicbook.com and asked, what's a Red Hulk? Yeah, right. He's going to play like that, and the press tour with him is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's really cool. We're going to see him. A lot of people are like, oh, how is Sam supposed to defeat the Red Hulk? He might not. He might not beat him.
Yeah.
Red Hulk could just turn back to Ross and go away.
Correct.
Like, he might not beat him, and that's okay. We'll find out. But that's one of those questions. It's like, I don't want to know if he beats him. How? I'd rather let the movie tell me that.
Yeah, so a little bit of information on the Red Hulk. Red Hulk debuted in Hulk Volume 2, Number 1 in 2008. This came at the aftermath of World War Hulk, where Bruce Banner had been locked into a gamma base to contain him. The intelligentsia was responsible for Red Hulk's creation because he had spent a good part of his life obsessing over Banner's powers. Now, did you read any of the intro
I've read
of
some
Red
of
Hulk?
It's been a long time, but I have read some of it. It might be a good idea for us to revisit before, as part of Comic Book Club before Brave New World comes out.
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. So definitely going to have to consider that. But yeah, so looking at that, however, people on the base could see a Hulk-like figure destroying things on the surface. And Ross was thought to be killed at that point, but it was revealed to be a life model decoy. He started out as a villain, but eventually went full hero and has been ever since. Now, having Ross as President of the United States and Red Hulk, that's a dangerous combination and a huge threat to the MCU. I love that we're getting introduced in a Captain America movie because, about the dangers of a villain getting the keys to the White House, which has been a very popular trope. We've got Norman Osborn not necessarily at head of power, and we also got Lex Luthor also being president of the United States at one point. So we're getting the intelligentsia back from She-Hulk.
Yep.
Is the leader running it?
I mean, a lot of us thought that's who was running it during She-Hulk, so.
I know, we thought we were going to get that first look at it, but you never know. But yeah, that's the trailer. So overall thoughts on the trailer. What you think?
I'm excited to see it. The sub-franchise, if you will, of the Captain America movies and stuff in the MCU. You would think it's Spider-Man, but no, my favorites are actually the Captain America sub-franchise. Just those movies, all the Chris Evans-led ones, plus Falcon and Winter Soldier. I adore those. And so I am really, really thrilled to get a fifth installment in those, the 3 movies plus the TV show of the Captain America series. I am super excited for this one. The teaser poster you just put up, Red Hulk's hands around the shield, great poster. I agree with the chorus of people who are tired and overdone with the Photoshop of 20 characters on one poster.
Well, that's coming. We know that's coming.
It's definitely going to come, but this was the first teaser poster, and I think that's the best. So overall, I was really impressed with this trailer. What did you think about it?
No, I enjoyed it. It was a good teaser. It confirmed some stuff that we've talked about in the show for rumors And I'm glad certain things like Red Hulk are already out there. It's done. We don't have to start speculating now. We can start thinking about other things. Even though I made the joke about like this is not it's a teaser because it's the first, but the length of it is not a teaser. This trailer got me definitely hyped up. I'm still holding my breath back in the sense of knowing what has been removed from this and the reshoots, not because of the idea of the reshoots, but like what has been added, what has been changed around. I just want this to do really well because Winter Soldier is my all-time favorite MCU movie. This is channeling some great vibes with it. I am very, very this got my hype level saying, okay, they're doing some good stuff.
For sure.
So looking up in the chat, so we got Julio saying, imagine getting a New York Times op-ed calling for the Thunderbolt Ross to step down as president in the MCU because he hulked out. that would be interesting. Eddie Caswell saying, hoping for a Red Hulk movie. Yeah.
A World War Hulk movie.
World War Hulk movie. Yeah.
The rights are still kind of questionable there as far as if Disney has distribution or not.
Yep. Julio saying Kingpin becoming mayor. Yeah, we got another one.
Referring to all the villains going into places of power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fiffa Jack saying they sadly mixed that with Thor Ragnarok in a movie, Thor Ragnarok.
I think that was Planet Hulk they mixed with Thor Ragnarok.
Planet
more
Hulk
than
mixed
World
with
War Hulk. Because World War Hulk was on Earth.
Yes, on Earth. So yes, definitely Planet Hulk. Thwip Media saying, personally, I love the trailer. Only concern is that to be very similar tone to Secret Invasion, and those trailers were great. Look how that turned out. Yeah,
I'm not going to hold that against every other movie with a good trailer. But you're right. Secret Invasion did have good trailers.
But where I'll step back, I'll only push back just a little bit in the sense of these reshoots come as a result of the strikes and the big pivots that Feige and Marvel Studios decided to take with this. And unfortunately, some people are never going to be seen in this film, supposedly because of the reshoots and the change in direction for it. So if the delay and if the time we're only getting one Marvel movie this year, and this has been pushed to Valentine's Day, great Valentine's Day movie for everyone to go and see this, to do it right, then I'll take it. So yeah, you're right to be cautious. I'm cautious as well, but this trailer gave me a little bit of hope. So. But all right, so that is our breakdown of it. So we're going to take our first ad break of the evening. So listeners, these ads help keep the lights on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they could be a bit loud. So give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so kind of interesting that two stories kind of broke, and they both really tie into each other. But we'll go with the most recent one because it's the the one that I kind of gave up of happening, not just saying I was wishing it happened, but there was enough scuttlebutt saying that, all right, more than likely we're moving on from this. But ladies and gentlemen, coming as an exclusive from the Hollywood Reporter, the Russo brothers are in early talks to direct the next 2 Avengers movies. So, as they're saying, their sources are telling them early talks, meaning nothing's official yet. And again,
but it also refers to it as a it says the move marks a homecoming for them.
Yes.
And so they kind of imply 1, it's done, but 2, it's early talks.
Well, coming from the Hollywood Reporter, it is an S-tier scooper, and very rarely do they put something out there unless their sources are...
And they're often behind. Like, they're often behind the real world. So it could be that they just found out about it, but that it's a done deal. Either way, it's a done deal of whether or not it's happening.
Yeah, so the hiring ends a month-long, high-stakes search by the studio filmmakers to oversee a 5th and 6th Avengers movies. Multiple names were in contention, including Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy, who supposedly was offered the gig. Sources say that Levy is focusing on upcoming projects, which includes the new Star Wars picture at Lucasfilm, and that is supposedly the reason why he turned it down. The Russos are coming on to direct the Avengers sequel, which was first reported by Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mike podcast. The move also, as you said, marks a homecoming for them after after doing a number of projects, including Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. With Endgame standing on the number 2 movie of all time globally with $2.79 billion in the box office. Combined, all their Marvel movies that they've worked on have combined to $6.681 billion. So, they obviously know how to work with the Marvel machine. In the years since, they've become kind of mega producers via the AGBO banner, producing Best Picture winner Everything Everywhere All at Once, and pricey titles such as Amazon's Citadel and Netflix's Extraction movies. The fifth Avengers movie was previously titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty and was set to star Jonathan Majors as the time-traveling villain Kang, but Marvel has cut ties with the actor after he was convicted of assault and harassment in December. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings director Destin Daniel Cretton was once attached to direct the Kang Dynasty, but he departed a month before Major's conviction. The feature is expected to get a new name and a new focus. The sixth Avengers film has still remained titled Secret Wars. The storyline that the Russos have long talked about is that would be the project to ask them that they would love to come back for, but we'll have to see. In this idea, this Secret Wars would be based off of more than likely Jonathan Hickman's storyline that took place in the comics. So right now, Avengers 5 is slated to release May 1st, 2026, and Secret Wars slated for the following year in May 7th, 2027. So the Russos coming back. So to your point, usually we get these stories that they're really not in early talks. They're saying early talks just because they want to make sure they're not putting out total fact because negotiations could be happening. But I agree. I think this is pretty much going to happen. And I find it very interesting that this stuff leaks a week before Comic-Con.
And just to talk about it all together, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, not at the THR scooper level, but like Murphy's Multiverse, Daniel RPK, Jeff Snyder, like that level, who you can't ignore them, but you don't take it to the bank. They're all reporting that Marcus and McFeely are going to be back as well. So just to talk about the group as a whole, because it's worth remembering that Marcus and McFeely wrote all 3 Cap movies, but all 4 Russo brothers movies, and they have a credit on The Dark World too, along with several other people, because that went through several different writers. Where are you with this? Like, I'm seeing all kinds of people, like, they're excited, they're upset, they think it's lazy, they think it's smart. I've certainly got my opinions on it, but where are you with this?
Where am I with this? I understand where people are saying, like some of our networks saying, this is a boring pick, this is too safe, this doesn't inspire necessarily a move for the Marvel Studios to kind of shake things up, especially when it comes to Avengers projects. My pushback on that is that we've said it before, and I'll keep saying it again. Bob Iger, head of Disney, has said they are going to pivot back to projects that in IP that has been proven successes, and in turn, people that they have worked for that have proven records. The Russos at $6.6 billion have a proven record. Yes, that is pre-COVID. All right, so I know the Russos have not had, from what I've seen, and in my opinion, have not had the greatest success with projects that they have directed outside of that. Again, that is my subjective opinion on it. It has not been the greatest. However, they play in the Marvel machine. There has also been some rumors and scuttlebutt saying that, under their breath, they may have said some unkind things about Feige in smaller circles. Not necessarily things I want to repeat here because, again, it's coming from level scoopers at questionable records.
I don't even think I've heard that.
Yeah, but in any case, they have not been shy about Secret Wars as a project that they would call back for and would love to be a part of. I am excited at the idea of the Russos coming back, especially with Avengers projects. I think if you've got 2 Avengers projects that are going to tie into each other, it does help continuity-wise to have the same director, or in this case, directors, to be not only directing one, but helping do both. And also a writing team needs to be the same in order to ensure continuity. Now, I understand that people have been pointing out saying, well, people wanted JJ back and look what happened with Rise of Skywalker. You're not wrong, but I think that they have under what the new auspices and the new changes going on at Marvel Studios, I don't see. They know how much these projects matter, especially with an Avengers level thing. That is something, you don't want to like say, oh, we can have a whiff here or there. Avengers project, no, there is no whiff. I mean, yes, Ultron was, one could say, a whiff, but they didn't get out necessarily for
Ultron
a whiff.
Ultron was
But
not a whiff.
The
Ultron
fact that
was hugely successful.
Yes, both of these movies are closing out, getting ready to close out this phase of the multiverse saga. They're going to get this right. So am I excited at seeing them come back? Yes. Would I love to see someone else possibly, like Critton or even Ryan Coogler, do it? Yes, I'd love to see a different person than the Russos doing it. But you've got my attention with the Russos. It's safe, but their pedigree speaks for itself.
There was never any real talk of Coogler, though that would have been an awesome pick. Cretton, he was signed on. I was super interested in that. All the talk about Sean Levy. We're going with Levy. All that talk recently, I love that idea as well because I've really liked what I've seen from him. The J.J. Abrams thing, let's go ahead and squash that. It's a bad compare. And here's why I think that's a bad comparison. When Episode 7 of Star Wars came out, they knew they were making Episodes 8 and 9, but they already also knew they were having different people who made them. They didn't already have them written. They didn't even really, you can kind of tell if you watch the movies, have super rough ideas of what they were doing.
Well, here's the thing. As an educator, they didn't backwards plan. They didn't start with the end in mind. They just wrote films.
That is a great way to put it. So they did Episode 7, and then they did Episode 8 with a totally different team who basically picked up the ball and ran in a different direction with it. I'm not saying good. I'm not saying bad. I'll let you, the listener, make that choice. I'm just saying they ran in a different direction, and then they gave it back to the first person who ran in a different direction again. Maybe more in line with his original thoughts, maybe not. But either way, there was no consistency up front. Here, if the Russos and especially with Marcus McFeely, they have a history of working together already in 4 of Marvel's biggest films, both between critically or financially, depending on your perspectives. And in the case of a couple of them, both, they have all that history working together. And if they know they're going to be doing 5 and 6, Avengers 5 and 6, they're going to plan for it that way.
Yeah.
So I think that J.J. Abrams is a bad compare.
Yeah, I do too. I do.
Now, I love the Russo brothers' work in Marvel, and I've even enjoyed their non-Marvel work more than most. It's nowhere near as good as their Marvel work, but I've enjoyed it more than most people seem to have, based on what discussion I've seen online. The Russos directed 4 of my top 5 Marvel movies. Right, the other one's No Way Home. 4 of my top 5, including my favorite movie of Civil War, which again, that's not. I don't think that's the best one, but it's my favorite one. I'm excited at the prospect of having them back, and I will genuinely be surprised if next Saturday night they are not announced as the directors. And it to me, that will be more in stone than anything else we've gotten in a long time, announcement-wise, from Marvel, because there's been so much, every time there's a new director at Blade or a writer at Blade, we're like, yeah, for the next 2 weeks until they're going to leave the project. This one I actually believe is going to happen. Now, if they're not, does that mean it's terrible? If the deal falls apart, fine. As I already said, I'm open to other people doing it. But the prospect of getting my favorite Marvel directors back, why would I possibly be against this idea? Now, I do question it, but I'm not against it. The only reason I question it, is if they come back, one, they have the challenge of realistically, in the box office climate of today, are people going to hold it against them if they don't make a $2 billion movie at the box office? And 2, if it's not as critically reviewed, or if the fans don't like these movies as much, are they risking tarnishing their legacy in the world of comic book movies, or at least with Marvel, by coming back and doing this. I do think that is a question. Are they risking tarnishing their legacy? But you could also say, and I'm pretty sure I have said before, after what they've turned in, they get any project they want. They want to direct a project, you give it to them and let them do it. Because, as you said, it's what, $6.6 billion that they have helped to bring in. They get any project they want. And if you're Disney, if you're Bob Iger, if you're Kevin Feige, you'd be foolish not to go back to them. Right? I mean, if they are a real option, if they want extreme amount of money or something that doesn't make sense. But if all that kind of stuff makes sense, if the finances make sense, you would be foolish not to go back to them, to your biggest hit makers.
Yeah, Flip Media, you could not live with your own failure, and where did it bring you back to me?
Everybody says that, but that makes the Russos the villain. Everyone says that quote. I laugh at when I see it.
I do, I like it, yeah.
Like, Thanos was the bad guy, remember?
Flip Media also saying, I mentioned this last night in a Film Junkies stream, but it's a great sign. They seem to be pointed in the right direction. The Russos perfected the character balance in Infinity War. I mean, look at everyone they had to juggle with it at that point. So they also say that I think the issue with Rise of Skywalker was Lucasfilm not having a plan. JJ did what he could. With Marvel Studios, they understand what needs to happen, and they fully trust the Russos to do it. And again, the Russos know and understand how to work in the Marvel machine by how many projects they worked on in the Marvel machine, and they understand the stakes of what it means to close out using the Avengers films to close out a major saga.
They know what they're in for. They know what they're saying. Because, you do hear some complaints of people saying, oh, Feige's too involved with this or someone's too involved with that. They know exactly what they're in for.
Yep.
And that is a benefit because there's no surprises there.
Yeah. So, Fifth of Jack saying, I think it's safe and smart to go back to success. The best part, it's 2 movies, which means awesome story arc. Yep. So we'll have to see exactly, we might get our official announcement really confirming that information. I mean, the story itself didn't say this was going to be officially announced at SDCC, so nothing like that. But again, could be coincidence, could just be one of those, or it could just be a good timed leak that's going to happen next week.
If it's finalized before SDCC, if the paperwork is signed, they are announcing it there.
Oh, yeah.
They're not holding that for D23. Now, if it's not finalized till after SDCC, they would announce it at D23. But otherwise, I think it'll go there. Yeah.
So some good news and some interesting news, and could be good news depending on how you look at the story. So this one coming from Nexus Point News, and as an exclusive, Michael Waldron has left Avengers 5. So the next installment of the Avengers franchise their sources have told them that Michael Waldron has departed from the project, leaving it without a director, a writer, and an official title as of the printing of this. So the Russo story had not broken at that time. Since the announcement in July 2022, what was originally known as Avengers: The Kang Dynasty has lost Destin Daniel Cretton as the director, Jeff Loveless as a writer, Jonathan Majors as the antagonist, and now Waldron. Following Majors' departure from the project and the title change, it's currently unknown how much of a presence Kang the Conqueror will have in the film, if any at all. A lot of the rumors that we have seen is that they wanted to make this a quote-unquote a more grounded project for the 5th Avengers, not as timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Sure. And this makes sense with the rumors of Marcus and McFeely coming back. It makes
sense. As we reported earlier this month, the film is looking to start shooting in late March of 2025 through August of that year. With 8 months left until the production commences, it's likely that Waldron's replacement will only come aboard to revise and touch up Waldron's script, which, again, that he'll still get credit for it. On the other hand, this would not be the first time Marvel Studios has hired a writer to rewrite a script under the time constraint. In 2020, Waldron himself was hired to rewrite Scott Derrickson and Jade Halley's Bartlett's script for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Despite this, though, Waldron is still attached at this time to write Avengers: Secret Wars. So again, he is just a part of the publicly. But it's just interesting that he's left that, hasn't left that. But to your point, this is just maybe, again, this is not coming from Hollywood Reporter, but Nexus News has been definitely Nexus Point News has been definitely jumping on some things that have been confirmed lately, so they're rising the ranks.
This coming out before the Hollywood Reporter stuff with the Russos, it all lines up.
It tracks.
It all lines up. Really,
So-
in hindsight, we should have mentioned this first. We should
Yeah.
have reversed the order first. But
Well, the bigger story
Russos
goes
is
first.
by far the bigger story.
So some interesting things in flux with SDC next week. I think that we're gonna see, exactly what's going on. Julio in the chat saying biggest mistake in Phase 4 and 5 is that there are no Avengers. Yep, I've said that before. I think it definitely not waiting this long for an Avengers project. I knew what they were trying to do in the sense of not so focusing so much on leading towards an Avenger project and dealing with other character-driven projects, but when it comes down to it, I think the lesson that needs to be learned is if they're going to continue these idea phases, you need to lead it towards an Avengers movie
I think it was
or
a nice
some sort of big team movie.
I think it was a nice idea, but in hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, yes, we've needed that team up.
Yeah. Eddie Caswell in the chat saying, I love Kang and Loki and Ant-Man 3. I want more of him. I understand the actor issue stuff, but they got to have something up their sleeve with Kang. Too big now to just forget about. I don't know. That they might just forget about it. I don't know.
The way that, I mean, he was defeated in Ant-Man, so that particular variant's gone.
And technically defeated in Loki season 2.
And they even had a line of that they were cleaning up all the other kings and stuff. Like, in story, it's easy for them not to reference the character again.
Yep.
Out of story, I agree. He's a really big villain, and I would hate to never get to see him again.
Yeah, Thwip Media saying, as much as I want to see Kang's story finished, they need to bring in Doom soon, too, with Secret Wars coming. If you want to relate to the comics, yes. Do they have to? I don't know. It's a good thing to think about.
I mean, it depends on, they could use the Beyonder.
Yeah.
Like, from the first Secret Wars,
Yeah. So-
Everybody, us kind of included, assumes they're going to lean more Hickman Secret Wars, but
which is a big Doom focus of that one.
They could pull from both.
They can. So we'll just have to see. But all right, so that's all the news that is fit to talk about this week. So we are going to take our final ad break for the evening. So listeners, these ads help keep the lights on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. They can be a bit loud. Give it that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, Brent, you put out the Spidey signal as always. What we got for questions this week?
Yeah, I got a couple questions, and we have a Fact or Fiction, which we'll do down there.
Okay.
First up from David. Episode 1 of Marvel's podcast started strong. Since then, we've had three fluff pieces. Will we get in-depth insight we were promised, or is this just more fluff?
Here's the thing. When it comes to this being the as they labeled it, the official Marvel podcast, I was not expecting a lot of like big scoops or things like that. Yes, you start off with the first episode being Kevin Feige that dropped a few little tidbits here or there. That's a good way to get people listening and kind of doing that. It's different from Phase 0. Phase 0 is kind of like our show. We're regurgitators. They actually do get scoops because they're actually going, Brandon Davis is going on sets. The rest of the contributors on the show are writers for it and get scoops that way too. So they break news and they can be regurgitators. That was never the purpose of the official Marvel podcast. It is a gateway to get access to people like Kevin Feige, easier to come on and to do little what I call puff pieces. And then for the general audience that doesn't get into the comics in a depth, the other half of the show is, hey, do you want to know more about it? We're going to break it all down in a very simple Cliff Notes version. That's, after the first couple of episodes, I said, okay, this is what it is. I accept it for what it is. It's not necessarily going to be must-listen stuff I have to listen to this right now, depending on what the show is. And I think Brent and I are the same in the sense of we'll listen to the opening part. The last half isn't for us.
Right. I listened to the entire first episode, which was Feige, and then, I don't know, it was like background on Captain America or something, maybe. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And then the second episode had, who was it?
Michael Waldron.
Michael Waldron, thank you.
No,
Brett.
No, Windebaum.
Not Michael
Windebaum. Sorry, Windebaum.
Winderbaum, yes.
Winderbaum, yeah.
Had a Marvel TV. And I listened to that, and then I quickly was like, the rest of this episode's not for me. And what I've basically come to the conclusion is I'm going to listen to like the interview part for usually, and then after that it's just going to be case by case. They do something interesting, they interview some of the comic book creators or something like that, well then I'll probably want to check those out. They just do a background on retelling Deadpool's story through Deadpool movies 1 and 2. I don't need that. So I'm going to
we just did that. If you're a member of our Patreon, you'll see.
It's weird because we want them to have big news because we know all the basic stuff. They want to do the basic stuff because they're trying to reach a wider audience. And for a podcast, it's hard for those Venn diagrams to circle up. And for me personally, I would like something. I don't need big breaking news, but I would like deeper dives into stuff, longer conversations with directors than 10 or 15-minute puff pieces, as you put it, to give us more in-depth stuff. You know, even the kind of stuff they would do in the Marvel Studios Assembled series, and like give us some stuff like that. But it's once a week on Wednesdays, I'll see who the interview is, and I'll decide then if I'm going to listen.
Yeah, so. There's a hope, but I kind of knew what I was getting into by episode 2.
Yeah.
So. But what we got next?
All right. From Amari Daniels, first question, where has Brent been? Well, according to David, I was off shaving President Ross's mustache. But
it was a big mustache, so that's why it was off for 3 weeks.
Basically, the last episode I was on, the next day I drove down to the Branson, Missouri area / Arkansas area for my wife's cousin's wedding. And then I was home for a couple days and went to Hawaii for like 10 days with my family. Was home for a couple days and then went to Pennsylvania for a work trip, which included basically a misconnecting flight and spending the night in the airport. So I got home a day later from that was fun. But the conference was good. I actually really enjoyed the conference. I did not enjoy spending the night in the airport. So that is where I have been.
Amari's thinking not Tahiti. I hear it's an amazing place.
It's a magical place, but no, not Tahiti. Hawaii, but it's not the same.
Was it magical?
Parts of it, sure. No, it was fun. So that was where I was at. And then his second question is, are you fine with Red Hulk being shown in the first teaser for Brave New World, or would you have preferred it have been saved for later?
Personally, I'm glad it's out there.
There were already McDonald's toys, man.
Yes.
I actually didn't see them. I did not see the McDonald's toys. But I know they were out there, which means the spoiler was out there. Just put it in and use it for your marketing.
And you know what? At this point, Thunderbolt Ross was involved. We knew the leader was involved in this one. There was going to be some sort of Hulk thing out there. It was written there. I think it would have been slightly disappointing if they didn't do it. So I'm glad they're doing it. We got our first look at it. We know the next trailer is probably going to be, we may see a front shot of it, and that's when everyone's going to tear it apart.
We referenced earlier the possibility, even the idea of Bucky appearing. That's the kind of thing I would hope doesn't show up in a teaser.
Yeah.
Keep that one. And even if he showed up at the red carpet, that wouldn't mean anything to me because, there's been other times where like, oh, they're at the red carpet. They're obviously in the movie. It would just make sense for him to be there. And so regardless. And so that's the kind of thing I don't want to know in the trailer. So the next one will open with a shot of Bucky. Now that I've said that.
There we go. So, all right. Well, we want to appreciate the Amari and David sending those questions in. So let us head to Fact or Fictions from last week and get Brent's opinions on these. This is coming from Travis. All right, Deadpool and Wolverine will make $1 billion worldwide by the end of its run. We have 100% fact. Are you a fact, Brent?
I don't remember what I said when this came up in our annual predictions.
This was one of mine that I said it would not make $1 billion.
But now, today, yes, I think it will. Do I think it's going to? How much money did Joker make? Do you know offhand?
No, I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up while you're thinking.
I don't, depending on where that is, I don't know if it's going to overtake Joker as like the top R-rated movie. I need to know how much that was, but.
There we go. $1.074 billion.
Oh, never mind. If it crosses $1 billion, it's going to cross Joker. So, I will say fact on this, and it's likely then going to top Joker.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, the end credit scene of Agatha All Along will allude to Wanda's return. 90% said fact, 10% said fiction.
Wow, curious why people don't think it would. Yeah, fact.
All right. And last one, Captain America Brave New World won't cross 500 million worldwide. 32% said fact, 68% said fiction.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm like, how is that worded? Okay, so it's saying will not cross 500 million worldwide. That's a fiction.
Yes.
No, it'll cross 500.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's going to be 7, 8, 900, but
yeah,
it'll cross 500.
All right. So this week it is my turn to do this. So these are all, it's going to be our last show for before Comic-Con. So I'm going to get mine out there. And we do have one fact or fiction coming from Anthony, so we'll put that in at the end. All right. We'll do low-hanging fruit first. We will see our first full cast in-person appearance of the Fantastic Four at SDCC.
Fact.
Yep.
Ooh. I do think it's a fact with the acknowledgement of they're starting to shoot the next day.
Well, they're starting to shoot Monday. Monday.
Oh, that's right. They could travel on Sunday. Yep.
Oh,
fact.
yep. They will start shooting in London on Monday, according to Mr. Feige.
Fact.
Yes, I'm a fact as well. All right. We will not get any acknowledgement or any announcement regarding Kang the Conqueror at SDCC.
Fact.
I'm also a fact.
We're just going to get told the title of the next Avengers movie. Mm-hmm. That'll be it.
Yep. And a little bit of trolling, but a little bit of fun.
Do trolling. Be a troll.
Well, no, they're both. They're both. It's fun and trolling. We will get a new logo for Armor Wars at SDCC.
I love it. I'm gonna say fact just because I want it to happen.
If we want to see it live on air, the Travis's reaction to the fake movie.
I've actually been sitting on an Armor Wars one for a while, but I'm gonna still sit on it.
Gotcha.
Because I will probably use it after SDCC before D23 comes out. Probably.
Yep. All right, so I will. We got our one from Anthony. What do we got from Anthony?
Well, let's pull that one back up. And Anthony says Hugh Jackman will be in the MCU canon. Will be the MCU canon Logan/Wolverine and will not be recast. Our Marvel Studios Prime Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. What do you think?
I will say fiction. I think after Secret Wars we're done.
There was a time I said that I didn't want Hugh Jackman to be the Wolverine, even though he's unquestionably amazing, because I don't feel like he has enough appearances in him left at his age, at how long he's been doing this, for what I would hope that our next Wolverine would have. That is still true today, so I'm going to say fiction. I don't think he will be, but I am thrilled to get him back next week, and will be very excited if he also is in Secret Wars. But I feel like that'll be it. I feel like we have next week, we have Deadpool, we have possibly Avengers 5, not knowing the story, and likely Secret Wars. And then that's it for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine for real this time.
Yeah, so. But all right, I will post all 4 of those Sunday afternoon, so let your voices be heard. And as we will continue to remind you, Comic Book Club is on hiatus until after Deadpool and Wolverine. So Brent and I will start talking about what we're going to do for the theme and the choices you all as listeners get to choose our next story. So, all right, Brent. Volume 222 in the books. So a lot of news, good trailer breakdown. So tell people how they can follow you.
Brent Tech Prime on the socials. So I won't be there too much this week as we get closer to Deadpool, but I'll be back after that.
Yes, I believe social media embargo lifts on the 22nd. So be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Be smart about it. Brent and I try to be. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Balga. You can follow this show you can follow my other show on Twitter at World's Finest True Believers at Finest Believers. You can follow this show on Twitter at Marvel A Podcast. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. Feel free to tweet, email if you want to provide feedback, ask questions, fact or fictions. DMs are open across the board on all our socials. continue to rate review the Marvel Alliance solo feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast. We greatly appreciate it. We want to thank you all for joining us live in the chat. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe out there, everyone. And remember, next week, we'll see you all at Friday night for our Deadpool and Wolverine live review. Stay safe out there. Excelsior, true believers. Well, Brent, we gave some predictions for SDCC, but we cannot not have our predictions for Deadpool and Wolverine. So where do you want to start with predictions?
First up is Wolverine's mask. We'll see it, but it'll only be in a couple scenes. 1 or 2 scenes stop.
Oh, yeah. Now, are we going to see it, him doing it as in an action sequence? I say yes.
One of them for sure.
Yeah.
One of them for sure.
But I agree with you. I think that it will not be long for the world. Heck, the sleeves aren't long for the world either.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right, so cameo-wise, I'm going to throw a couple ones out there. You can tell me if you think they're happening or not. We just talked about Fantastic Four. I'm thinking we're getting some members of the Fantastic Four.
Specific one or
specific ones with the actors? So I'm thinking we're getting our cast from the Fox era of it.
I mean, they're all the Fox era.
Well,
Fan Forstic or Chris
not
Evans?
Fan Forstic, Chris Evans. Okay. So I don't know about Chris Evans. It would be great
his cast.
I would say yes, his cast, but I would say Jessica Alba and our actor who played Mr. Fantastic for sure.
Well, I like your chances for Jessica Alba because she recently said she'd totally do it. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I actually have there's a shot in one of the trailers. I think it's the first trailer where Wade is basically in front of a bunch of TVA screens looking at glimpses of the MCU. I think that shot or something comparable will actually show footage from those old Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah. But I'm thinking I'm not calling out old footage. I'm calling out they're in it.
You're saying new footage. I'll say yes.
They are actually in it, not new footage. They are actually there.
Yeah, I will say I agree. I think you're right. I just also think we're going to see something from their old movie.
Fair, yeah.
In one of those.
Okay. How about are rumors going to be true? We're going to get some Daredevil adjacent characters in this.
I mean, it's all but confirmed for Jennifer Garner. So
yeah.
I fully expect her Elektra. I don't expect anyone else.
All right. Give us a pie in the sky hope for a cameo.
Pie in the sky hope for. I mean, Chris Evans as the Human Torch would be pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe getting some Captain America jokes in there.
Absolutely. If they're gonna do it, give me the Captain America jokes. Honestly, I would love to see Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Yeah,
I would love to see that happen.
Those rumors were strong. I'm not feeling them though anymore.
It sounds like it was. It sounds like it was no. Like I think those got squashed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other Fox Marvel movies.
Oh, could we get a Ghost Rider? Could we get some Nick Cage action?
I mean, I realize it doesn't have to be, but was Ghost Rider Fox? I feel like that just increases the likelihood. He might have been Paramount. I don't remember. Ghost Rider was certainly plausible.
Mm-hmm. How about from like the actual X-Men? We know we have Pyro. If you saw the most recent trailer out there was another one. I'm not going to put it out there. I know you and I both know it. It was something we had heard for a while there. We know at least one other. How about like other X-Men related characters, not from First Class, but from the original trilogy?
Trying to think of like X-Men, the X-Men TV shows, like The Gifted. Like they could put someone from The Gifted or Legion.
I wasn't even going that deep.
I don't even know that I would recognize them, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't. But I think we might be getting maybe some Jean Grey and some Scott Summers.
Which ones?
Not First Class, the original trilogy.
Okay, that's fine then. I'm good with that.
I don't think we're getting any First Class people in this.
Nicholas Hoult would be the only one I think we might get. He's probably the only one he's the one I would most want, I think, beyond Xavier and Magneto. Yeah. Other pie in the sky. Okay, pie in the sky, Agent Coulson.
Okay, so we're going to canonize Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Multiverse, at least.
Anything's possible, right?
That's right. But I'll say Agent Coulson. Like, I feel like that's something They could do, and it gives them a Marvel Studios character to appear. Like, do you think any Marvel Studios characters are going to be in it?
I do. I just don't have. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think you're gonna get big level Avengers in this. I think their price tag's gonna be too high for that.
Okay, how about this one? Hunter B-15 from the TVA.
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone in the TVA is fair game.
I mean, we know they're going to be in the TVA. Yes, we know their armor looks a little different, but like they could bring her in, and it could be one of those. I know who she is. I recognize her.
Yep, we're all doing the Leo point.
Like that would be a cool one.
Yeah, I think we get some sub characters on there. I don't know how many big MCU characters we're going to get in this, but okay, we need to put our stake in this. Lady Deadpool. Is it going to be Ryan Reynolds in a wig, or is it going to be Blake Lively, or someone entirely?
It's most likely Blake Lively.
Okay.
Especially because I'm pretty sure I read once when one of them is working on a movie, the other one goes, and they don't do movies at the same time. So Blake Lively is probably there.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the different variants of Wolverine we're going to get. I'm very excited to see those and the actors portraying them.
Yes, that'll be fun for sure.
So I don't want to put anything out there because I do know one of them, and I'm not going to say what I know. So. And it didn't ruin it for me. I was like, oh, that's cool.
I don't know, so definitely don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Nope.
But I am going to ask you this. Remind me, who is it that was supposed to originally play Wolverine in the X-Men movies and then couldn't do it because of Mission Impossible?
Oh, God. I think it was in Mission Impossible 2. Oh, God. I know what you're talking about.
Doug Ray Scott.
Yes, yeah.
I think it'd be. I honestly don't think I would recognize him necessarily, but it'd be cool if they had him as a Wolverine cameo.
Yeah,
like that would be cool if they did that as kind of a throwback.
So I'm excited about it, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I am psyched to do this review next Friday night. I think it's gonna be a big success at this point. And but yeah, so we will see you Friday night, 9:10 Eastern Standard Time for our big breakdown of Deadpool and Wolverine. For those of you seeing it next week, I hope you enjoy it. Check out our review, and we'll be seeing you real soon. Bye-bye.